The second period bell echoed through the crowded hallway like a signal to chaos. Lockers clanged open and shut, sneakers squeaked on the floor, and conversations layered over each other like static. The high school hallway was alive with noise, laughter, gossip, and Lena moved through it all like a ghost. She walked with her sketchbook hugged tightly to her chest, her dark hair cascading down past her waist like a curtain, shielding her from the world. She didn't make eye contact, didn't speak unless spoken to, and even then, her words were soft, brief, and measured. Some said she was weird, others said she was shy. Most just ignored her, except the ones who made her their target. At the far end of the hall, Tara leaned against her locker, lip gloss in hand, reapplying it in the mirror of her phone camera. Beside her, Jess and Mia snickered over something on TikTok. Tara had clocked Lena approaching a moment earlier and nudged Jess with her elbow. "There's Rapunzel," she said with a grin. "Still playing the mysterious loner act." Jess laughed. "She's not mysterious, she's mute. I've been in classes with her for 3 years and still haven't heard her speak above a whisper." "She probably talks to herself in some demon language," Mia added, twirling a strand of her own hair. "Or her sketchbook. Remember that creepy drawing of a 3-headed crow?" Tara tilted her head, an idea forming. She reached into her backpack and pulled out a pair of silver scissors, the kind used in art class. She twirled them in her fingers like a toy. "What if we gave her a little makeover?" she said, flashing a wicked smile. Jess blinked. "You're kidding." "Come on," Tara said, already stepping away from the locker. "Just a little trim. It'll grow back. It's not like she'll say anything." They followed her, weaving through the crowd until they were only a few steps behind Lena. The girl had just stopped at her locker, unlocking it with practiced precision, still clutching her sketchbook to her side. Her long hair draped down her back like velvet, undisturbed, untouched. Tara motioned for the others to be quiet. Jess pulled out her phone and hit record. Tara moved in close, just behind Lena, raised the scissors, and with one quick, ruthless snip, the sound of metal slicing through hair rang out. A thick lock of dark hair fell to the floor, slowly curling in on itself like a dying leaf. Gasps rippled through the hallway. People turned. Conversations stopped. Someone muttered, "Oh my God." Another student nearby covered their mouth in shock. Lena stood still. The silence around her was heavier than any scream. Tara stepped back, grinning, holding the severed lock of hair up like a trophy. "You're welcome," she said mockingly. "Now you look less like a cavewoman." A few nervous laughs sputtered through the crowd, but most people just stared, unsure, uncomfortable. Lena turned slowly to face them. Her expression didn't crack. No tears, no rage, just a long, hard look that seemed to pass through Tara like a beam of cold light. Her eyes weren't blank, they were focused, sharp. She bent down, picked up the strands of hair without a word, placed them gently inside her sketchbook, closed it, and walked away. No yelling, no retaliation, just silence, and that silence was deafening. Behind her, Jess lowered the phone slowly, the smile fading from her face. "Did you get that?" Mia asked in a whisper. Jess nodded, showing the screen. The video had already been saved. "We should post it," she said, her voice uncertain. "It's just a joke." But even as they stood there, watching Lena disappear into the crowd, the mood had shifted. Students whispered to each other, some shaking their heads, others pulling out their phones. A few followed, Lena with their eyes, while others glared at Tara. She didn't even flinch, someone said quietly. Tara flipped her hair and rolled her eyes, but her fingers were tighter on the scissors now. "Relax, it's not a big deal." Later that night, Jess uploaded the clip to TikTok with the caption, "Quiet girl finally gets a haircut," rolling on the floor laughing scissors. Within an hour, it had a few hundred views. By midnight, it had thousands. By morning, it had millions, and the comments were nothing like they expected. "Y'all are disgusting. She handled that better than I ever could. Imagine being so jealous of someone's piece you have to destroy it. Where's the school? Let's report them." The joke wasn't funny anymore. And by the time the school doors opened the next day, the 3 girls would learn just how loud the quietest person in the room could be. The atmosphere in the principal's office was heavy, like the air just before a storm. Outside the window, students walked by unaware of the storm already brewing inside. Tara sat stiffly in the wooden chair across from Principal Harris' desk, her legs crossed, fingers gripping the edge of her skirt. Jess sat beside her, shoulders hunched, eyes red-rimmed. Mia fidgeted with her phone until Principal Harris motioned for it to be put away. They'd been summoned the moment they arrived on campus, pulled from the hallway before first period even began. They knew it wasn't going to be a normal day. Not after the night they'd had. Principal Harris looked down at her monitor, expression unreadable. The only sound was the occasional click of her mouse and the faint humming from the air vent above. Lena sat in the corner of the office, silent. Her hair, once long and flowing, was now a short, neat bob. The uneven strands from the day before had been cut clean. It framed her face with a quiet dignity. She held her sketchbook closed in her lap, her posture calm and unmoving. The principal finally spoke. "Do you girls have any idea what kind of mess you've caused?" Tara swallowed. Her voice came out thinner than she intended. "It was a joke. We didn't mean." Principal Harris raised a hand, silencing her. "Let me rephrase the question," she said. "Do you know how many people have seen the video?" None of them answered. Harris turned the screen toward them. 7 million views. 40,000 comments. Your names are trending on multiple platforms. Your personal profiles were found within hours. One of your addresses was posted online. Mia's face paled. I didn't post the video. Jess did. I didn't think it would get that big," Jess muttered, voice cracking. "Everyone posts stuff like that. Not everyone assaults a student on camera," Harris said flatly. "That's what this is, make no mistake. It was premeditated. You brought scissors to school for this. You filmed it. You shared it." Tara shifted in her seat. "We've already gotten death threats. My parents are thinking about getting the police involved." "The police are already involved," Harris said. "But not for the reason you think." A beat of silence fell over the room. Lena hadn't said a word. Her eyes didn't even rise to meet theirs. She stared ahead, calm, unreadable. Jess leaned forward, desperate. "Lena, please, we're sorry. We didn't mean to humiliate you. It was stupid, okay? We weren't thinking." Lena slowly turned her head toward them. She didn't speak, just opened her sketchbook and held it up. The drawing took up the entire page, black and gray pencil lines shaded with surgical precision. It was the three of them, Tara, Jess, and Mia, but exaggerated, almost grotesque. Their faces were twisted with cruel smiles, scissors in hand, while behind them rose long, inky shadows, versions of themselves, warped and monstrous. Eyes hollow. Below them, drawn small but central, stood a girl with no face, her hair in strands on the ground, her silence forming a barrier between her and the dark. Written in bold lettering at the bottom, "Sometimes, silence is louder than cruelty." Tara's throat tightened. "We didn't know it'd get this serious." "Of course you didn't," Principal Harris said sharply. "Because you thought she wouldn't fight back. You thought her silence meant weakness. But the world saw her, saw what you did to her, and it spoke for her." Jess reached toward Lena, then stopped herself. "Can't you just say something to make it stop? To make people calm down?" Lena looked at them, then slowly closed the sketchbook. When she spoke, her voice was soft but firm. "I didn't do anything to make it start." The words landed like a slap in the face. Cold, final. Harris leaned back in her chair. "Effective immediately, you are suspended for 2 weeks. We will be conducting further investigation into whether expulsion is appropriate. Your scholarships, those are out of my hands. But your behavior will be reported." Mia began to cry. "Please, it was just a stupid moment. It was a moment that cost you your reputation," Harris said. "And it could have cost Lena a lot more." Lena stood up. Her movements were slow, graceful. She nodded politely to the principal, then turned and walked to the door. No one dared speak. Tara stared at the floor, heart thudding in her ears. The hallway outside sounded distant now, like it belonged to a different world. A world they weren't a part of anymore. As Lena left, students watched her pass, not with mockery or amusement, but something else. Something close to respect. Even. Tara buried her face in her hands. Jess slumped back in her chair. Mia just cried. And outside, for the first time, Lena walked through the hallway not as a ghost, but as someone seen.